So coming back from any break always means one thing, and that is that it's time for Trump dates. So obviously all the attention recently has been on the big beautiful bill, but there have been other really important stories going on that we're going to catch you up on.
Like, the Department of Justice hired a January 6th rioter as an advisor. That's literally him in the clip yelling, "Kill him," at the police officers. He also yelled, "You're disgusting, you're the Nazi, you're the Gestapo, shame on you."
Okay. So his name is Jared Wise, and he really found a way to kind of climb the ranks because he was actually in the middle of his January 6th criminal trial when Trump took office. So his case was eventually dismissed. And Ren, want to tell everyone what he's doing now?
Yeah, so he'll be a part of the weaponization working group, which Trump created to investigate all the times he says the Biden Justice Department pursued political objectives rather than actual, legitimate justice.
So he'll literally be investigating January 6th, which, I don't even know how that's really allowed. But beyond that, his selection means that this guy who's been pushing for violence against police officers is now responsible for the DOJ's official effort to get back at people who tried to hold rioters accountable.
He'll literally be working for the department that was prosecuting him just a few months ago. They'd literally charged him with 2 felonies and 4 misdemeanors, and he had pleaded not guilty. And before joining the insurrection, Wise was actually an FBI agent for many years. So we've all been following the devastating flooding in central Texas, and Mabel and I are thinking about everyone who's been impacted or lost loved ones.
Yeah, this was astonishing. Apparently, 4 months of rain fell in just hours upon the Guadalupe River. The death toll is currently over 100, and it's just been rising.
And it seems like the biggest problem is that people didn't know to evacuate. So there's been a lot of questions now about what emergency protocols were in place and why they didn't do a better job, I guess. And Texas officials have started to blame the National Weather Service for underestimating how much rain was coming in, and also because key positions at the NWS are vacant because of Trump's recent cuts.
Right, so some of the offices were missing a senior hydrologist, staff forecaster, and meteorologist in charge. Another office was missing a warning coordination meteorologist who is serving basically as the crucial direct link between forecasters and emergency managers.
And the person who had that job actually took an early retirement package that Trump had offered as part of his operation to shrink the size of the federal government.
And we did a piece on the National Weather Service cuts when they first happened and actually spoke to scientists who told us that they were worried about what would happen when the next big hurricane or flood or wildfire hits. So it is scary to see what is happening when there isn't a proper infrastructure in place.
Yeah, no, I saw an ABC interview with one of the survivors who just flat out said she and her neighbors did not get adequate warnings to leave. And when we're talking about the river rising 26 feet in 45 minutes, this is life or death. So I hope out of this tragedy, we can reassess what measures are in place and how we can strengthen them, since climate change, I know everyone hates to hear it, but it's just going to keep making these freak incidents more common.
So unfortunately, the time has finally come. Elon Musk has announced a new political party called the America Party. And let's just not mention the fact that he's South African.
Oh yeah, we should have seen this coming since the brovorce happened. He still hasn't filed the paperwork for it yet, but he did say America Party candidates will start being on ballots next year. And he's focusing on just 2 or 3 Senate seats and 8 to 10 House districts.
But then later he said that he would, quote, crack the uniparty system through extremely concentrated force at a precise location on the political battlefield. So clearly, his strategy isn't very sound yet. And of course, we know that this whole third party idea came to him after Trump introduced the big beautiful bill.
Exactly. Elon was so against the BBB because it will add $2.4 trillion to the national deficit over the next 10 years, which so directly undermines everything he was trying to do with Doge. He said, "When it comes to bankrupting our country with waste and graft, we live in a one-party system, not a democracy."
And we'll see how this shakes out, because over the years, lots of moderate, billionaires have dreamed up having a third party. But as we know, America is a 2-party political system. So introducing a third party is almost impossible because experts say of gerrymandered districts, all the deep political polarization, and states laws, which require really expensive and complicated ballot qualification procedures. So it seems like a long shot that Elon's party will even take off. So last Monday, while the Senate was debating back and forth about tariffs and the spending bill, Trump posted on Truth Social, Trump fragrances are here. They're called Victory 4547 because they're all about winning, strength, and success.
Yeah, there's a men's one and a women's one. It literally looks like an Oscar trophy or something. There's a little gold statuette of what's supposed to be Trump, even though it looks way too young for him. Sorry. And you'll never believe how expensive each bottle is. $250.
Which is literally more than other similarly sized like luxury perfumes like Chanel No. 5, iconic. And it seems like you'd have to buy the perfume to really get an idea of what it smells like because the descriptions on the website are pretty vague. So the men's perfume is described as blends rich masculine notes, and the women's is a sophisticated, subtly feminine scent.
So basically, the men smell like men and the women smell like women.
Yes.
Got it. And we know this is his second fragrance. His first one, which we've reported on before, is called Fight, Fight, Fight.
My new Trump fragrances are here. They make a great Christmas present. I've named them Fight, Fight, Fight because they represent winning. We all want to be winning. Get yourself a bottle and don't forget to grab one for your loved ones too. They'll thank you and they'll even smell good.
So his licensing deals just keep growing.
And it's important, you have to act fast because these are limited edition.
You now have to set your social media profiles to public in order to apply for a student visa so that the State Department can review your posts for any indication of hostility towards the US or its people.
Yeah, and the State Department has been reviewing like social media profiles for a while now, since 2019. But what's crazy about this is that failing to make your social media account public, actually, there's grounds to just reject your entire application.
Right, it completely takes away their option of privacy. And this is obviously a continuation of Trump trying to restrict the number of foreign students coming into the US. Currently, more than 1 million international students are enrolled in colleges and universities, and they contribute $40 billion to the country's economy every year. So we've all been following Trump's Alligator Alcatraz, the detention camp in the Everglades that's already started processing immigrants. And he and his team chose it for the treacherous surroundings.
And it's a great honor to be deep in Florida, the Florida Everglades. It's known as Alligator Alcatraz, which is very appropriate because I looked outside and that's not a place I want to go hiking anytime soon. We're surrounded by miles of treacherous swampland, and the only way out is really deportation.
And Trump's talking about alligators and pythons, but experts say mosquitoes and hurricanes are way more likely to harm the incoming 3,000 detainees.
So the facility was also put together very quickly. The chain link fencing, showers, and toilets were made in 8 days. And apparently some of the soft-sided cells started to flood during Trump's visit last week. So obviously already people are like, this seems unsafe.
Yeah, the structure literally violates Florida's building code. So it's built to withstand winds up to 110 miles per hour. But that only protects against Category 2 hurricanes, which is below Florida code. And Alligator Alcatraz is located in the high-velocity hurricane zone.
And so, of course, there's been so much backlash to this, like in a humanitarian way, because obviously, is this even safe for people? But environmentalists are also suing the state, Miami, and the federal government. So one of their major concerns is that the widespread use of insecticide would kill insects and animals in the surrounding area of the prison, which is the Everglades, a federally protected wetlands area.
Did you see the AI pic of alligators wearing ice hats in front of the center that DHS posted?
Literally insane. It was posted by their X account with the caption, "Coming soon!" !
It'll cost $450 million a year to run this center, and DeSantis says he wants to build a series of them around the state.
The U.S. has also turned over 8 migrants whose criminal sentences are ending or already over to war-torn South Sudan.
The men originally came from Vietnam, Mexico, Laos, Cuba, Myanmar, and just one is from South Sudan. And in case you don't know, the country is on the brink of civil war. The State Department has warned against traveling there because of the risk of crime, kidnapping, and armed conflict.
And so because of these dangers, there's been an ongoing legal battle for 6 weeks about how much due process is really needed to send these people there, because experts are saying that if you do send them there, there's a risk that they will be tortured. So while this was being kind of fought out in court, the 8 men were shackled for weeks inside an air-conditioned shipping container on a U.S. military base in Djibouti.
I honestly didn't know it was legal to house humans in shipping containers, but the Supreme Court ruled that they could move forward with the deportation. But 2 liberal justices, Ketanji Brown Jackson and Sonia Sotomayor, dissented, said they will be turned over to the local authorities without regard for the likelihood that they will face torture or death. And this was interesting. They said the administration has the Supreme Court on speed dial.
That's like an insane thing for a Supreme Court justice to say publicly. And this kind of begs the question, like, why is the administration sending migrants to war-torn countries or Alligator Alcatraz, like places that are known for being dangerous? And so Ren and I were discussing it, and the only rationale we could come to is that this is supposed to obviously deter migrants from coming to the US illegally, because if they do, it's basically a statement saying that the consequences are so severe, like stay away. And this pattern is probably going to continue. The Times reviewed documents showing that the government is asking 60 countries, mostly in Africa, to take deportees who are not their citizens. So American science refugees are fleeing Trump's US to go to a university in France as a part of a Safe Place for Science program.
Yeah, when you sent this to me, I immediately forwarded it to my brother, who's a science grad student, because almost 300 researchers from prestigious US colleges have fled to a no-name university in Marseille.
Yeah, which is like very unlikely, you would think, but it's because these researchers are afraid of the funding cuts under the Trump administration. And so a lot of the academics in this program work in climate science, but it's appealing to a lot of different kind of people. Like there's even a researcher who studies the intersection of judicial systems and democracies.
And apparently France and a lot of the EU have launched multi-million-dollar plans to woo researchers across the pond since Trump became president. So maybe we should have become scientists, because then we could live in France.